Right, so today I'm going to be making two dishes today, so it'll be two separate videos. One's going to be quesadillas for lunch, and one I'm going to make a Thai chicken broth with noodles. So looking at my ingredients here, I've got the egg noodles. They cook really quickly, so that's nice, it's cool. I've got some coriander to finish off the product. I've got some scallions, or spring onions as you would call it. I bought some chilies. Now these aren't very spicy chilies. The general rule of thumb with chilies is the smaller the chili, the spicier. Of course, there are examples of bigger chilies, like something like a Scotch bonnet is a bigger chili, probably the size of a £2 coin, maybe a little smaller. But these won't be very high on the Scoville scale, so I'll just put seeds and all. But I'm only putting mine, not everybody's, because nobody would like spice. Got some garlic, some onion. Part of this onion is going to go in towards my chicken stock, and part of it's going to go into my dish itself. And I've got a thumb of ginger as well. And of course we've got the chicken. So in your test you would have chicken carcasses. I'm not butchering loads of chicken to get carcass out of, so I'm going to use the legs, and then I'll then pick those off and put that back into the soup and use some of the meat for a later date. And that's it. Let me get prepping. Okay, so back to prepping now. I've got my chicken carcasses, leg quarters. They've been washed or rinsed under cold water into the pot. There's my chilies and my yellow pepper that I had left over from my quesadillas. And here's the rest of my stuff I'm going to prep, and I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, so starting with the scallions. So I'm now going to, again, they've been washed. I'm going to cut it at a bit of an angle. This piece I'm going to chuck into my stock. I'm going to cut this now at a nice angle to give a nice presentation for my soup later. And I don't want to go too far up, just to about there. And now normally you wouldn't add green to your stocks, but in this case it's not going to make too much of a difference because the stock is going directly to soup and nothing else, so it should be okay. Keep it a nice angle, looks nice and pretty on the plate. And because I'm cutting it really fine, you see over there, really thin, that will cook within a minute in boiling stock. And that's kind of the idea with the soup. So as you're heating the soup up, the ingredients are cooking at the same time. So it's all about the mise en place with this particular dish. Okay, so there's my spring onion. Going over to my onion. So I'm going to, just a basic white onion. So top and tail it. That's going straight into my stock as well. Skin and all, doesn't matter. It's all kind of flavour. Let's peel that off. Right, I'm going to cut these in two ways. For the stock, I'm literally just going to cut it in half, and then in quarters. And that can go straight in there. That's just for stock. For the soup, I want it very fine. So I'm starting at an angle, remember my bitch claw. And as I'm cutting, I start straightening the knife up. And when I start running out of space, flatten it and turn it round, and now I've got space to hold it again. Okay, that's far enough, and that can go back into my stock as well. And again, very fine. That's what I'm kind of looking for. I want it to cook very quickly within my stock. So everything I'm making now is it's all background flavor. Right, garlic. I need a couple of cloves for my soup. I'm not going to add garlic in the product itself because that's just going to be soaking up. There should be enough there. Who knows, the way I cook, I might change my mind later. So again, just squash it, chuck it in there. Nice and easy. If I had carrot, I would add carrot. I don't have carrot, so I'm not putting it in. I'm going to add some coriander stalks in there. Purely because I've got it. and I don't want to waste it, so I'm going to pick my coriander off, which I'll be using later. I'm not going to cut it. It will wilt small enough later anyway, so if it's a horrible piece, chuck it away. So the stalks can go straight in. The product itself is not great in the shop, so I've been struggling for herbs. Now, when you're making a stock in the trade, you quite often will, if you're prepping tomato, you can chuck the tomato bits in there. You can add all kinds of bits and bobs that's flying around. As long as it's not starchy, you don't add starchy stuff. But everything else, go wild. Right, so with my ginger, just going to grab a little chunk off. Top and tail it. Now, I could add this to the stock, but potentially, because ginger is quite spicy, it could overpower the stock. So those that don't like spicy, you have a problem. So I will just add ginger to my own product. Two ways you could do this. I'll show you both ways. So your one way, you can gently cut it down like you would an orange, a kiwi, a pineapple, etc. So that's one way you can do it. This is probably the safer way of doing it, if I have to be honest. The problem with the way of doing it this way, you go a bit of wastage, and that's obviously not good for me. The second way you can do it, which is the less safe way, is scraping it. Like my granny used to peel her carrots and potatoes this way. But of course, because you're working so close to your fingers, but this is the less safe way, but as you can see, so much less wastage. That's literally just the skins. Okay, all I'm going to do is, with my microplane, you can use the side of your grate as well. Give a nice little grating. You could chop this up fine if you want, but I can't be bothered, this is quicker. Okay, so that's the stock ready to go on. I'm going to bring that to a boil and simmer for 2 minutes, skimming occasionally to get all that scum and excess fat, etc. off. Over here, that's my ingredients. I'm going to pop that in the fridge to stay nice and fresh. But everyone will make their own stock tonight when we heat it up. So my pan, I would have a bit of everything in there, but finish with the last minute with the coriander. I found some lime juice. I prefer normal lime. Don't have it, so that finishing the soup off is just going to make it really, really fresh and beautiful. And then obviously the noodles, which I've never used before, but they cook in 4 minutes, so that sounds like a plan. And let's get cooking. So here's my chicken stock. It's been going on for about an hour now. I'm trying to get as much of the fat off the top as I can. A little trick that some people may show you: if you get some ice and you chuck it in there, it will cool the mixture down quite a bit and will send the fat right up to the top. And that's just, again, as you can see, the fat's now coming around and it's easy to skim again. I want to get as much of the fat out as possible because I want to have a nice clear, not cloudy broth. As you can see, all the fat has now come to the top. So this has now been cooking for actually closer to 3 hours. You can actually see we started up here and it's shrunk by at least a third. So I'm going to be very careful now. I don't want to break up the meat too much because it potentially could make the stock cloudy. So I've got my trusty spider. Let's drain it. I'm going to allow this to cool down first. A, because I want to pick the meat off. I'm going to utilize the meat. But B, as it cools down, all the fat will come to the top and I'll be able to skim even more of the fat off. I'm being very careful not to waste too much here. If you look at the chicken, it's so soft. So that's, I'm going to be shredding and then adding to the stock. So there we go, that's my chicken ready to cool down. And I've got a bowl here just with a sieve. I don't have muslin cloth. I could use a wet J cloth, but it's going to take ages through the video and I'm not going to be wasting your time too much. what I'll be doing as well, this is catching up all the gunk. So as you can see, all the bits that's in the stock is now away. There will still be sediment at the bottom. So what I'm going to do later, once it cools down, I'm going to get the fat off the top, and I'm going to spoon out the stock, leaving a little bit at the bottom so there's no sediment. So here's my mise en place ready for my soup. I've got my broth there. There's still a few fat droplets on top there, but I've got most of it off. That's my chicken stock. That's the meat I picked off the leg quarters. There was only 3 leg quarters in there, but there's a lot of meat there. So if I'm making a chicken pie, this would be really handy as well. Here's the rest of my mise en place. So I've got some white onion. You can use red for this as well, I guess. Some scallions, yellow pepper, a little bit of chili. The seeds are still there. Grated ginger, that's going to add some more heat. Fresh coriander to add lastminute.com. Got my noodles. Now according to the pack, it only cooks in boiling water for 4 minutes. So obviously I'm going to be starting my broth before I start my noodles. And we've got some lime juice. Like I said, obviously I prefer fresh lime, but that we'll have to do today. It's just time to get cooking. Right, so I'm doing 2 batches at the same time. So mine's going to be a little bit spicy. Then the rest of the family is going to be less spicy. Over here I've got a pan of water coming up to the boil. That's for the noodles. I only need 4 minutes on that, so I'm really not phased about that at all. So I'm going to start with a little bit of olive oil. I'm using Italian olive oil for a change. So you want to use very little. Remember, you don't want spice in this. So just a few drops there. You don't want to make this spicy at all. Now, in some cases, some people might add a touch of flour to give it body. It's not necessary. This is a brothy type product. So I want to make sure my oil runs nice and loose. Remember, you never cook in cold oil. I've got it on fairly low heat. I don't want to cook it too much. I'll turn up a little bit. So how do I know my oil's hot? A, there might be some steam coming off. B, you might have some splittage in the oil. It looks like it's starting to separate. And C, it runs like water. And you want to make sure you always cook with cold oil, with hot oil, unless otherwise stated. So as you can see, if you can see the oil there, it's not really running that loosely. It still wants to heat up a little bit. On this side, let's just add a little bit more. So this type of dish, you want everything pre-prepped. All your mise en place must be done before you start. So I'm going to start with my small one here. Start with some onions. Just a few onions. Onions in this one. Be careful not to get it all mixed up. If I add my herbs and stuff like that, it's going to burn. I'm going to add my chili as well. Nice and mix. I don't want any colour on this, so I'm going to cook it really quickly. Let's turn my heat down slightly. Okay, that onion is now already just under half cooked. So it cooked really quickly. Okay, I can add my peppers now. And my ginger. So I'm going to add ginger to both of them. Like I said, the ginger is going to give it some heat. And some peppers. Just a little bit. This is just a bit of a background garnish really. Again, I'm after colours here. The colours in the soup, so you can have the red, the yellow, the green, the white from the chicken. It's going to look absolutely amazing. I could add some wine to this if I want, some white wine. I'm not going to today. But I could add some white wine. I could add some sake if I wanted to. If I wanted to stick a bit more oriental. As you see, that's now starting to colour. In mine, I'm just going to add some of this salt again, because I said the chilies weren't very spicy, and I want to add some heat, so that's a 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm going to go with some stock. Sorry, before the stock, the chicken. I'm talking nonsense on the video. So, nice decent handful of chicken there. The rest can go into there. When I picked this chicken, I made sure there was no bones, no cartilage at all. I also picked out some of the very black bits that's linked to the bones. Now I'm going to add my stock. If you look over there, down in my bowl, you can see the gritty bits at the bottom. So I'm going to stop there. I don't want any of that grit into my stock. So I'm going to stop there. So this now, give it a good stir. Make sure there's nothing down on the base. If you're going to add pasta, like spaghetti that you've broken up, or orzo or something like that, you would add it at this stage once it comes up to the boil. Just give that a good stir. Now I have in the past beaten some egg into this as well, but it makes it look a lot less appealing, so I'm not doing that today. I'm going to attempt to make it look decent. While we're cooking now, I can add some of my scallions. So that's going to cook out. Like I said, the leaves I'll do lastminute.com. Give that a good stir. I can now bring this slowly to the boil. I don't have to rush this at all. You can see that's already quite hearty. I'm going to lose some of that liquor. Okay, so I've turned these up to come up to the boil. It's just coming up to the boil now. Once it comes up to the boil, I can then drop it to a simmer. Everything is cooked here now. There's nothing that's not cooked. It's all about seasoning now. My water's come to the boil then. So the packet came with 3 of these nests. I'm guessing that half per portion will be fine. So I'm going to add just 2 of them in. And all you need to do is let that soak a bit and just gradually just break it apart. And that's literally only going to take 4 minutes to cook. So that's pretty cool. So this one I can turn down just to a simmer. I don't want it to boil. And I can start tasting. Remember, I've got no seasoning here at all at the moment, so much flavour in there. So a little bit of black pepper, a bit of aromatic. Don't put too much. A bit of Himalayan pink salt. Himalayan, not Himalayan. So I still haven't got lime juice in here. I still don't have coriander. They're literally going to go last minute. Touch more salt and that should do it. So that can just tick over nicely. A little bit of taste. That is very, very good. Just break that up a bit. Make sure it's cooking even. Like I said, the noodles are just a little bit extra. This is a soup. It's a broth. It's a light lunch. It's a light dinner. It's great for weight loss. It's all healthy ingredients. Chicken being very lean. We've got rid of all the fat as much as we can. So we're doing well here. So now, while this has come up to the boil, I can start tasting mine. Now remember, I've got chili in here, so a lot more ginger as well. Touch more pepper. And salt. Now because I'm making my own portion, I'm seasoning to my taste, not to a customer's taste, so I can add as much as I want without you guys complaining about it. Mine's also quite a bit more brothy than the others are. A little bit more salt. The only product I didn't get, like I said, was the lemongrass. It makes an amazing addition to the flavour here. But it's one of those things that if you can't get it, there's no point. You also tend to need less in what you buy, so you can find alternatives. In this case, I'm using lime, but lemon juice will do the job as well. That is now, the heat is really coming through with that stock, so it's almost there. These noodles are almost there as well. I did put salt in the water there. Salt, and that should be it. You can see the chicken now is really starting to break up. There's a lot of ingredients in there. Each bite will get something, and that's what I'm after. But look at the colours, it's amazing. The things what it tastes like now is nothing like the end product, because there's still lime juice and still coriander going in there as well. That is beautiful. I love that. Right, so these noodles now have been cooking for about 4 minutes. So let's just double check and make sure they are actually cooked. They are nice and soft, so I can drain them. Right, so I'm now ready to start finishing off. So nice squeeze of lime juice. It's about a teaspoon there. There's about 3 teaspoons in there. Obviously bear in mind that the lime juice will cool the liquid down. Let's get some fresh coriander in there. Absolutely love the stuff. Some people say it tastes like soap. So you've got to bear that in mind if you're cooking for people. So this will wilt down and then it's ready to serve straight away within seconds. Okay. So coming over to my plate. And then a little bit of noodles. The center of the dish. Try to keep it in the bowl. Touch more noodles. Try to get a good portion. And then this lovely chicken broth. When I dish this up, I tend to start with the ingredients first. So a little bit over the top. You want to see some of the noodles, that's kind of important. And get some ingredients in there. And that is an absolutely beautiful Thai chicken broth. Enjoy it.